You're listening to the Digital Deep Dive, where we tackle the newest trends, strategies, and pain points shaping growth across the digital landscape. From Amazon and D2C to international expansion, join our host and e-commerce leaders across multiple industries for in-depth discussions on how to maximize your brands in the digital arena. Now, here's your host, Aaron Conant.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Digital Deep Dive podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Conant, and today, again, we're doing a deep dive into profitability as a whole. Still, it is the leading topic that of the 20 to 30 brands I chat with every week. That's what they're focused on. I don't think anybody's surprised. Sometimes we spend it around advertising and how to fine tune it. This is super unique from the standpoint today. We have Monocle here. I'm going to kick it over to Noam and Mark in a second so they can do the intro. But around the personalization of offers standpoint, we've had a lot of focus of personalization over the years around how are we giving the right product to the right customer at the right time, the right offering, so they're most likely to buy. That's led its way into search and the additional people also bought, column as well. But there's another layer around these. A lot of you probably listened to the Pretty Damn Quick podcast I did with Avi around what he's doing at checkout. And this is something kind of similar. We're going to get into it. But anyways, I'll stop talking here. But no, I'm going to get over to you. Do you want to do an intro on yourself? Some background around Monocle. That'd be awesome. And yeah.
Sounds great. Cool. So I'm Noam. A little bit of background about myself. I'm from Israel originally, studied CS a long time ago, then moved to San Francisco, worked for a few startups, ended up starting my own company, did an acquisition fairly early on into Lyft, so worked at Lyft for a bunch of years. What I ended up doing at Lyft was a lot around promotion optimizations, actually. So we really built a very talented team around figuring out who are the right people to target with discounts. And, back then, a few years ago, I want to say Lyft and Uber were always at price wars between each other. And there's just a ton of money that goes into spending on promotions. And initially we did, what every e-commerce brand does and said, hey, we're just going to give everyone who hasn't taken a ride in the last few weeks a coupon. And, it works well. A lot of people come back from it. But then what we started doing after that is really hiring a bunch of really smart data scientists and engineer that really build the capabilities so we can detect who is actually incremental to the business if you give them a discount versus people who are going to take a ride anyway, and you're just wasting a coupon on them. So I started incorporating that and then ended up making each coupon about 50% more efficient. So massive savings there. And then ended up taking that technology and also pulling it into the driver's side of the business. So thinking about it more holistically, just as an incentive, basically. So getting people to do 5 rides in a row. The driver gets a bonus, for example. So figuring out who should get that bonus and what should that bonus be, essentially. So it was really interesting, and kind of that's where I realized there's a lot of opportunity in this space in general. Ended up doing something similar at Instacart after that. So worked a lot on kind of conversion optimizations and basket size optimization, and then I want to say about almost 2 years ago, that's when me and Mark kind of decided it's time to take that technology and bring it over to e-commerce. Maybe before I tell you more about that, maybe Mark can give his intro.
Hey, Aaron, it's great to be on the podcast. So my background is a little bit different. I started my career at McKinsey. I was part of their pricing practice, so looked a lot at pricing and discounting from kind of a business impact perspective, using pricing and discounting strategies to drive growth, the impact on profitability. That's really when I got really interested in exploring that world more. I always found it to be an interesting combination between psychology and kind of hard numbers. There was always, really rigorous exercise around, what is the optimal number. But then at the end of it, there was always that moment when people are like, "Wait, but like, how do we really feel about, this price point or that discount?" And I thought that combination was always interesting. I got into tech by working at Stripe. I was a pricing product manager there. Again, looking at pricing more from the B2B side at that point, trying to figure out what are some creative ways to combine SaaS pricing together with volume pricing. And then jumped into Monocle at 2022.
Yeah. So I do want to get into Monocle, but you're the super smart guys that get us to buy stuff that we might not necessarily have bought, because you gave us the exact right discount by not just overdoing the discount, but getting me right to the point where you know how much I need to be able to convert. That's awesome. I was just having this conversation with my 18-year-old who just went off to college, who's just started to go on a spending spree. He's like, "Dad, I can't afford not to buy it. Right? It's 20% off." I'm like,
if you want us to talk, you want to talk to them, we can do it.
Yeah. Just convince you. I'm like, "Listen, you got to stop spending money. You're going to go broke, but I can't afford not to. It's 25% off. It's one time."
Yeah.
I immediately was like, I'm talking to these guys next week around this exact topic, because there's two things that happen there, right? Is you're dialing customers in. This is great when it gets really real for me. When you can dial in exactly that breaking point, because brands don't want to overspend, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to discount their product. Let's be real. Nobody does. Right. But people do. There has to be a lot of times, especially where we're at in the economy right now. I know the stock market keeps going up. I know the Fed is going to cut a rate. It's going to keep going. It's on fire. Everybody I'm talking to is scratching their heads. Like, every brand is like, we don't know what's going on because people are buying few of our products. So at that point in time, we need to step in. So I'm talking a bunch, and I'd love to hear a little bit more about how you guys do this, because it's super, super interesting. I do think it fits into profitability as a whole.
Yeah, definitely. So the way you can think about it is, there's a lot of money that goes into just let's say if we're looking for example on ads, there's just a lot of money that goes into ads, but there's just so much brain power that goes into optimizing that spend, but there really isn't as much thought that goes into optimizing the promotions, and that's why we think there's a lot of opportunity in this space. But in terms of how we do this, it's taking a lot of the technology that we built at Lyft. So specifically, this technology is called causal AI, or causal inference, basically. And this is very different than a lot of what exists out there in this ecosystem, where it's mostly around personalizing, recommending products in the right way, or just doing stuff that's maybe more classic machine learning solutions, which they're all great, and there's a place for them, and they're valuable. But when it comes to looking at the price and actually changing the price or changing the discount for people or the incentives, you need to look at it from a different angle, basically. So it's not about whether you used a coupon in the past, so we should probably give you a coupon again. That doesn't tell you if a coupon actually changed your behavior and by how much. And when you're looking at something you're spending money on, such as promotions, that's when you need to start thinking about what is the ROI I'm looking at. And it's not about, if you bought a battery-powered flashlight, you want to sell them also batteries, because that's probably true for everyone. What you want to understand is what is the incremental value of giving that person a discount, because giving a discount is costly, not only because it might not give you the same returns, but just on a more longer horizon, just looking at LTV and looking at how people kind of perceive your brand, you should just avoid discounting, just so people aren't used to discounting. And you should, if you are giving a discount, you should make sure it's really people who actually need it, basically. So with that technology, basically what we're doing is we're always looking at what is the cause and effect of different actions. So the cause is this incentive, and what we're measuring is, okay, what is the delta in your behavior? And how we're doing this is by we have a pixel on the site. We see everything that the user does. We build a profile on each user. And then we put all of that through our machine learning pipeline. And then we basically come up with a prediction on how we think this incentive will change their behavior. And it's not just about, is it 10% or 20%? And let's always give the lowest one. Sometimes it might be, hey, this person actually prefers a free gift and they're more likely to purchase with that. Or maybe this person likes free shipping more and they're more likely to use that. And that's kind of at a high level. I will say maybe one more point on that, because I think that's a question that comes up a lot, is what typically means that you should give a discount to people. So I think the common way of thinking about this is with intent. So the easy way to do this is to just say, hey, the higher your intent is, the more we'll discount, basically, which is not quite the right way to do this, because the more intent you have, the more likely you are to purchase without a coupon as well. And if you don't have any intent, a coupon is likely not going to impact your behavior at all, basically. So what we tend to do is we tend to find those people that are in between. So we call them maybe medium intent people, that they're not sure they want to purchase yet, or they're not sure they don't want to purchase. But they're the ones where if you give them some sort of good reason to purchase, they will likely change their behavior. And these are the people we find. And what defines a medium intent, that changes per store. And that's what we're good at, is finding what are the features or properties of a user that has that medium intent, basically.
So in the background, it's machine learning. I mean, because there's two things. There's a lot going. I was talking with the team over at XMars. They do Amazon ad tech, and this difference between rules-based, right, and actual machine learning AI. And it seems like rapidly a lot of this tech, there's two things that are happening. One is this rules-based is going to AI machine learning, which is, different. You're real-time crunching and making a prediction, not taking data and then predetermining what you should do. The other thing is, with this move over, it's actually becoming cheaper, right, as a whole, when it's actually just crunching. It's not necessarily people on the back end that are setting it all. So are you fitting into that like AI machine learning piece based on, and then delivering unique results user by user?
Yeah, so exactly right. So it's not just, time. It's just also really complex to just think about all of the rules you want to have for when you want to give someone a discount. Like, you could probably achieve pretty good results if you split it up and figure out, okay, new users with a basket size over maybe $200, and they're from New York, they should get maybe 30% off. But if your your basket size is less than $50, then maybe you shouldn't give any discount. You can think of all these rules and you will probably find good ones. It's really hard to then always test and make sure it's always right. And even if you did find the right ones, they're likely going to change over time. So maybe it's the right one basically for this month, but maybe next month, due to seasonality, maybe that's no longer the case. So you do need to always keep testing that, basically. But the idea is, that instead of building all those rules in whatever marketing platform you're using, you're basically simplifying the creation of those email flows or whatever it is you want to do. And then you let Monocle kind of come in and eliminate all these rules and just do it on an individual user basis. So each user goes through our system. We then find out, okay, what exactly did they do? How much money exactly do they have in their card? How many times did they purchase? What did they have in their history? All sorts of things like that we take into account. And then for that individual, we then build a prediction. And then the idea more technically, the way it works is we basically send the coupon that we generate into those marketing platforms. So it's very easily referenced in the email. So you never need to update emails when you're changing coupons, basically.
And Aaron, one thing to add on that distinction between rule-based and machine learning, I'd say, is that one of the things that we found was kind of intimidating to folks is that you're essentially replacing something that's very logical and clear with a black box. That is something that keeps coming up, like, oh, like, am I being replaced by the machines now? Like I can't like have any more agency because I don't even know what it's doing. And so one of the things that we made a point out of with Monocle is to be very transparent about how the models are making different decisions. So it's not like, a black box. You're like, oh, okay, like this user got 10% off, this user got 12% off. I don't know why. Instead, what we do is we are very transparent about what is the things that we're measuring, what kind of user behaviors are implying that we should give you a discount and what kind of discount we should give you. And then all of that is accessible through our dashboards, to the marketeer so they can explain to their team, understand it themselves, and then also, make other decisions that are maybe not incentive directly related with those kind of rules. So, they can inform ads that are targeted towards those kind of folks. They can inform, other campaigns that are informed with that. And so it kind of equips them to go back into other parts of their business and be able to make better decisions while also understanding the decisions that the machines, quote unquote, are making on incentives. And that is something that visibility is really important for us to drive.
Yeah, then are you plugging into so obviously email, but SMS, direct mail, like it's really coming back fast right now. 100% exposure rate is nearly, right? Like maybe 99 because it randomly gets lost. Are you getting it? Does it plug into all of those? And then the other thing I want to pull, so with the data they're pulling out, you can actually then put them into groups and then distinctly market to every one of them differently through the other ad tech platforms?
Yeah, correct. So maybe I'll add a little bit more color both on the integrations and also why we love direct mail. So the short is that we integrate on kind of throughout the consumer journey. So you can use Monocle to inform offers and pop-ups. You can, use Monocle to inform offers and banners on the site. Email, obviously, SMS, direct mail. Essentially what we want to do is wherever you want to give or considering to give an incentive, we want to be there to help you figure out what's the right personalization ad. Now, direct mail is particularly interesting for us because there the cost is not only the incentive that you're giving, but then also, direct mail is expensive. Every postcard you're sending can cost you 50, 60, 70 cents. And, praying and spraying with that could be a very inefficient, profit eroding strategy. And so with Monocle, what we're essentially able to do is incorporate the cost of the postcard, the cost of the mail piece into the model so that you know that when you're sending folks a postcard, you actually are expected to get more from them than you are investing. And so that's just an easy way for us to show additional ROI to merchants by not only taking into account the incentive decision, but then also the postcard or mail piece cost. So that's another extension. And then everything you can do with ads obviously can be informed by experts that you can get from our platform. So that is something we try to kind of a lot of the times we work with retention managers and retention kind of leaders. And for them, remarketing is something that is important. And so we're helping them with that as well.
Yeah. Wow. I mean,
we agree, Eric. That's funny. That's exactly when we open our dashboards, that's what we say every day.
Yeah. No, I mean, the reality is it costs more than ever to get people to your site, right? With PPC costs going up. So, customer acquisition costs as a whole are through the roof. Getting people to convert, right? Especially as we come into Q4, right? Where everybody's looking for a discount, right? So now it's even more costly to convert somebody. To be able to fine tune that, but then to plug it into the different marketing channels, which on site, right? The pop-ups, all of that stuff, do the spinny wheel, right?
Yeah.
Give them the exact offer that's right for them. I think we're getting to the point now. We should, I don't know if we want to jump into like how expensive it is or how inexpensive it is, maybe is a better way to put it. But there's enough tools out there now where machine learning AI have driven down the actual costs that more and more people can do something like this, and it's going to be table stakes, essentially, right? I mean, that was when we were talking a little bit about what Avi does over at PDQ, is you can't afford not to have something analyzing checkout when shipping is one of your biggest costs, and you can't give away free shipping to everybody, right? Especially if they're going to be, never going to come back, right? Like, you might just lose money. It might not be worth it. It might not hit your profit margins. Why not just carve that out? And if they still want to pay for it, great. And you're doing the same thing on a bigger scale across all of marketing as a whole, because I do think that, especially Q4, discounting is going to be super important, like it always is, but heading into next year as well, as things I do think are going to slow down across the economy as a whole. And people are going to be fighting for that conversion, for those fewer dollars that are out there being spent by fewer people. What is
one thing I would add to your points? I think there are two things. I think one, A/B testing. There are a lot of tools out there that do that, and I think a lot of people should be doing more A/B tests. Like, there are always things that you should look at to optimize, such as what you said, checkout. There are also, like, within the app, sometimes you want to change content and understand what's working actually. Those are great, and A/B testing is super helpful. What we do is we also do A/B testing for promotions and incentives, but we also take it a step further. So there's optimizing based on what you're seeing from an A/B test result. So, like, A/B testing, maybe not giving a discount, giving 10% and giving 20%. Maybe you see the 20% is the winner. That's great. You're optimizing your incentive. But what we're doing is we're taking it a step further, basically. So it's not just about A/B testing and understanding, what is the best winner for everyone. It's about personalizing it. So once you're done with A/B testing, you get to a certain peak, let's say. So maybe you realize you can increase your revenue by 10% if you're offering everyone 20% off. Great. That is a great achievement. Now, when you add Monocle, even after you found your peak, you can bring it up even further, because there are likely people that don't need that 20% off, or maybe need a little bit more. Maybe they need 25% off, but will still be a very profitable user for you if you give them that. So, I think there's the A/B testing piece, which is a lot of times kind of manual, but then there's the piece above that, which is automated personalization, which is where we sit, where we're constantly testing what each individual user should get and then executing on that action. So in my mind, there's a little bit of a difference between certain set of optimization techniques. I think A/B testing should always be done, but I think eventually everything will move to personalization. So A/B testing will be done automatically on each individual basis, basically.
Yeah, and Aaron, one other thing that you mentioned here that kind of piqued my interest was your point around how expensive it is, increasingly expensive it is to get folks on the site. And then, to your point, like, that makes conversion so much more important. Like, when somebody's on the site, you really want to make them buy because it costs you just so much to get the traffic. I think that the other thing this is doing is it makes your current list of your current audience and your current installed base, if you're a subscription business, so much more important. Like, retention was something that I feel like was a little bit misunderstood, or the importance of it for businesses was misunderstood when it was a lot cheaper to get folks on the site and get kind of that constant velocity. I feel like now, you want to engage your base. You want to engage folks who have purchased. You want to get them to buy again, maybe to buy at a certain time period, maybe to buy, from a different category to the ones they've purchased before. I feel that is something that is well understood. I think that the challenge with doing that today is that the primary tool of doing it is email and SMS. And with new deliverability kind of limitations, it's getting harder and harder. Like, you can't just spam your audience again and again and kind of hammer that out. you have to be a lot more targeted also with the way you do that, with the way you're approaching your installed base. What is the offer you want to give them? When do you want to give it to them? There's an increased importance to engaging your retained base, but then also a cost that wasn't there before. And I'm sure that that's kind of top of mind for a lot of marketeers today. But what's the right, how to thread between those two different those two different considerations?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like you're allowing everybody wants to know, like, what is it going to take me to convert that person? And then they want to understand what that is. And if it costs me too much, then fine, I don't want to convert, right? I've got a business to run. I have profit margins to hit. So if I could just know what that point is, then I can decide whether or not I want to give them a discount or an offer that's up to that point. You're right. A/B test. What I do want to jump into the A/B test because I want to pull a little bit of a thread there. But if you knew that, which is what you guys are getting to, right, is that point where I know if I give them this, they're most likely to convert. If I go beyond that, it's not worth it to me. I don't want to do it, and therefore I don't give it. One other thing on the email deliverability. Yeah, there's a company called Orita AI that's plugging in at Klaviyo that a lot of people are looking at right now that basically scrubs it, puts people that aren't interactive in hold, and then is constantly looking for when they re-engage so that then you're not sending out more emails than you need to send. Deliverability goes through the roof because unsubscribes and clicks to spam go way down because it's a huge concern. But yeah, on the A/B test, you're right. It's different than A/B testing a group of people to figure out what's the right answer. It is A/B testing. Personalization is when you're getting to the A/B testing of the individual, which is crazy because even like 2-3 years ago, people were like, oh, we don't know if we're going to, when CDPs were blowing up, like, oh, we're not ever going to be able to get to one-to-one. With AI now, you might be able to get one-to-one and then you can A/B test on an individual. That's the ultimate in personalization because you can keep fine tuning over time. Yeah. Wow. That's too cool.
What are you excited about in personalization? Like what's kind of, what are some cool things that you've seen in that field?
Well, this is the cool thing right now.
What's the second most cool?
I think a lot of people disregard. I like the changes that are going on in search. I think people a lot of times disregard. They oversimplify search as a whole. They look at it as, hey, from the standpoint of, what is it driving and what data are you getting? So when you type in the search, what are the results? Not just what are the results, but the fact that customers also looked at might not be customers also looked at. That should be actually unique. I understand from a marketing side, hey, by the way, they're not saying, hey, always all the time, people who bought this also bought this. A lot of times it says customers also looked at, which is then A/B testing. Did we give you the right answer? Right. And that's hard to find without machine learning on the back end, where that's actually an A/B test in real time. We showed you this sweater, a cardigan, and over here we showed you a V-neck. And if every time people search on that in this demographic, they actually go over and click the V-neck, well, now you can start feeding that into your search engine. So now we can start getting ultimately personalized, and that keeps fine tuning over time. And you can keep applying those learnings to, again, get people to see what they want as soon as possible, feel like the brand knows you. So you get in the basket and you convert faster. And how people are using that, and then how people are having that drive advertising to feed back into, hey, wait, this core group of people always clicks on the cardigan, and this core group always, clicks on the V-neck. We've had so much data in the past that now we can crunch it. Like, this thing is awesome.
Yeah, and then connect it to your point between different touch points, so you have this kind of integrated customer experience.
Right. I mean, that's part of it. Like when we got connected, my mind was blown. Like what you guys are doing, like immediately impacts conversion rate and helps people decide, is it worth it or not? And that's what people want to know, right? Like, I can't go over a $5 discount, right? I can't do it. So if that person needs $6, all right, well, all right, too bad. But if that person only needs 4, I can shave it back and give it 4. I can give it 3. I can give it 2. And I can start making better decisions because brands, it's profitability, man. It's profitability over and over and over again, is what people are looking to solve for right now, especially on the direct to consumer site. It's expensive to ship goods. And if you're in apparel, right, half of everything comes back because everybody orders 2 sizes. I can't remember who else I was just talking to. The cool new AI driven, just it's not a true fit. Oh shoot, I'll have to look it up. Where they basically have you answer just a few questions and they just dump it into the model and it kicks out the most likely sounds. What's that?
Yeah, I think I've seen that when I was at Shop Talk just now. That's really awesome. I didn't realize how big of a pain point that is for so many merchants. Until
it's shipping and you got to pay for it twice. Everybody hates that. Because that same box is coming right back. So it's pretty outside of the weight, like it's pretty much the same price that it goes out. So you basically have to double, especially if you're in apparel, you double the shipping cost. Right? Well, again, I have to factor that back in and all these things that they're slowly figuring out. Then if you know that's going to happen as part of business, there are different, service providers that can help solve for that and reduce it, which is great, but it's never going away. So then how do we tackle these other pieces as a whole? Yeah. What are you guys most excited about?
I actually think, I don't know if you've played around with PostScripts. They call it infinity testing. That's pretty cool. It's just like a tool where it's similar to what I was referring to, basically, that lets you it's mostly around copy, but it basically lets you keep A/B testing a bunch of different copies and trying to personalize it for each individual user. And they're doing some cool stuff with, I think it was Dr. Squatch and True Classic as well. I saw some interesting stuff there, and like some of the technology is actually similar to what we're doing. So it seems like they're doing a lot of innovative things over there. So it's pretty cool.
We also have to give a shout out to Good Day and our main man Kyle Hennessy. I really think it's cool that he's building an ERP for e-commerce. I feel like that one of those tools that in ERPs have been forever, but like everybody sort of has like a love-hate relationship with them. And I feel like that's really cool that he's revolutionizing that space.
And I think I would say it's more hate-love, right? Like if we were to weight the two.
Yeah. That's fair.
So what is it? We have to have them on. Who the shout out? What's the company again?
The founder of Chubbies.
Yeah.
He also happens to be one of our investors.
Cool.
We like Kyle, even if he wouldn't be an investor. Yeah, it's a Good Day. Check out Good Day Software. Check out their site. Kyle is really great. The cool thing about Good Day is that it was built off of his experience running Chubbies, and I feel like he really understands the kind of pain points of the domain. Brings a ton of experience. So
should make a connection. We'll throw him on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm happy to.
That would be cool. I mean, this network, right? The BWG network, the Connect one, that's what it's about. It's about, I was on the brand side, just struggling to find cool people to talk to, and just ended up you're going to trade shows, getting sales pitched nonstop, right? And the talks then were a little bit more informative, but still, the classic talk is, hey, we're here to talk about this problem. Do you have it? And you're like, yeah. Okay, well, we solve it. Well, that's great. Well, let's walk through an example about what it would look like. Yeah. And then now do you want to know how to solve it? You're like, yes. And they're like, okay, well, here's my, card, scheduled time for 60 minutes with me. I'm like, I just wanted the answer. Like, I don't need to hire you. I can go fix it on my own. Just could you let me know? And so why not build this network of people who network knowledge share together and then start making all these connections. And it's cool conversation. You're like, hey, go check out Good Day. All right. Like, let's throw them on. Let's let everybody know about it.
Yeah. We'll cut after this.
Yeah. Awesome. I've been picking your brains. Any questions for me? Or always happy to answer those as well.
Yeah, what do you think is, it looks like there's a shift to profitability, obviously, that wasn't there before, or 3 or 4 years ago, sorry, in the kind of the peak of low acquisition costs.
Growth at all costs. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think is the most effective adjustment that you've seen brands do? Is it more target, like, is it on the ad side? Is it kind of, you mentioned returns is a big cost lever. What do you think was the biggest adjustment that proved to be effective in kind of fixing your economics and profitability?
The number one thing was the realization that your customers are everywhere. Mm-hmm. And everybody was talking about an omni-channel or uni-channel. And so Michael Zakor was preaching uni-channel like 4 or 5 years ago. But the omni-channel approach was, hey, I'm selling everywhere, but I treat Walmart this way, Walmart.com this way, Amazon this way, direct to consumer this way. Like, okay, well, you're treating everything different and you're treating all the customers different, not realizing the customer is the same person everywhere. And so what's really happened over the past year, and I think a lot of this is driven by Amazon's just dominance in the paid media space right now and taking so much money away from traditional paid search and social. And it freaked brands out at the beginning. But Amazon with their marketing cloud and their DSP, you can actually put a pixel on your site, feed it into the marketing cloud, have it kick out custom audiences that's an exact match of your pure customer from your direct to consumer site, and then serve ads through a DSP that drive them back to your direct to consumer site. And that once you've balanced that spend appropriately, everything goes up. And the brands who are getting that are seeing growth right now. And the brands that are trying to hold back, like that's the Amazon channel, and that's different than our pure play customer. We need to treat them different, and we shouldn't drive any traffic outside of Amazon onto Amazon or on Amazon off Amazon. Is just crazy, and they're lagging. And so that's this realization where people are like, well, I need to balance the spend with a growth mindset in mind, not just a individual.
Not in a siloed way that like looks at these channels separately from one another.
And I mean, Amazon, kind of some updates they did in the marketing cloud with new tech providers that plug in to the marketing cloud. I mean, the hardest thing was just getting data out of it because it's a weird Amazon SQL query that you have to write to. It's just weird. But this tech that allows you to just do a plugin and then create all these audiences, it's a game changer. And people that are looking at it holistically are just winning. They're winning. It's always interesting because then what happens is the big corporations end up buying these little brands that are just blowing up out of nowhere. Yeah. And they're blowing up because they're using all the tools correctly and they're looking at the market and the customer correctly.
Yeah.
That's simple.
Yeah. I feel like that's the next cycle. It's kind of cyclical, right? Where you always have these upcomers that are taking a complete different approach to the way, direct to consumer and just like online commerce is done, and, find these like cool new strategies that help them grow and kind of become the new incumbents. It's awesome to watch.
Yeah,
Aaron,
it's fun.
What's the most fun brand that you've talked to? Call it in the last week. Give us something to shop for.
Oh, there's too many. As I found Lou Alimo, he's over at Pin Brands. They make Welch's fruit snacks. If you don't know Lou, everybody should know Lou. I'm going to have him on the podcast in a couple weeks. I'm talking to a lot of cool brands. I love Roku. I love the team over there and Linda, what she's doing. And then you start getting served ads around the products as you're checking them out. That's really cool. Who else is coming up here? Let's check the calendar really quick. Ashley Furniture. They're an interesting spot. Oh, you know one of the coolest ones though, which is Boppy.
Bobby?
I've had 4 kids, so the Boppy is like a nursing pillow. So I'm super excited about those guys. Who else? Oh, Keter Brands, KETR, Brooke over there. So they make like all like outdoor like sheds and indoor product. They do a lot in the plastic space. Brooke and the team over there are awesome. I'm trying to think who else. Who am I missing here? Call to catch up. Oh, Hunter fan. Craig and the team over at Hunter. Craig is just straight up awesome. Been a longtime friend and supporter of the network. So I was catching up with him. I mean, I got a blessing for a job. Like I love people, and I guess and I love e-commerce, and I get to talk to people on it all day, every day, and then they connect me with cool people like you doing cool things that then help all those other people in the network out. So this is a blast. It's a blast. And then you're going to connect me to Good Day, and we're going to throw that on the podcast, and then that's going to help. I agree with ERP space. I was on SAP, like AS400 and SAP. Bohemoth's not actually doing great for the huge companies out there. That'll be fun. But anyways, well, this has been a blast. I'll let you know. It should publish in the next couple weeks here. We release every Thursday. So probably just 2 Thursdays from now. And you're kind of sandwiched between Andrea Lay, we're doing Amazon vendor negotiations. So AVNs are coming up. That's a cool podcast. So anyways, it'll be fun. Anything else I can do for you guys?
No, Aaron, thanks so much for having us on. It's really appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's been a blast. Well, thanks, my friends. With that, we're going to wrap up this episode of the Digital Deep Dive. Thanks, everybody, for listening in.